In this video, I will explain you how to use VAT functionality on sales document. Go to Sales module, open Invoices document. You'll find the list of invoices over here. Click on Create option to create a new invoice. Once the new invoice document creation form appears, add the required details in the tabs available. On the main tab, you can enter general information about the invoice. That is, the type of the invoice, the customer, contract, warehouse, and the customer order as the basis. Let's fill the data. Once the general details are filled, review information related to VAT that are presented as a link here. Click this link to adjust the settings. This opens the price and currency dialog box. Fill in the details as required in the price and discount field. In the taxation field, the default tax settings from the entity will be picked up. You can change them as per your requirement. I'll keep the VAT applied in the taxation type. Once it's selected, the field for VAT percent and VAT amount will be available in Inventory and Services tab. The VAT amount is calculated in the currency of the document according to the amount and VAT related settings. Select the checkbox Price include VAT if VAT will be extracted from the item's amount. That is, the VAT will be calculated based on the formula amount into VAT rate divided by 105. The amount field available in Inventory and Services tab will be same as the total. If the price include VAT is cleared, the calculation of tax will be amount into VAT rate divided by 100. Therefore, the total will be calculated based on amount plus VAT amount. Once the settings are done, click on OK. IMRATE field will be available once VAT applied is selected. Select the IMRATE related to the sale. If you have default IMRATE set for the entity, it will be filled automatically. You can change it as per your requirement. Moving to Inventory and Services tab, include the list of items and services that were sold to the customer. Click on Add, choose the item, add the quantity, price, batch and serial number if applicable. The functionality of batch serial numbers are explained in a separate video. Kindly refer them for further detail. You can use the income item, expense item and business activity columns to specify the parameters for further analysis of this sales document. The values in the amount column are automatically calculated for each item according to the specified price, quantity and discount. In the Payment Terms tab, the fields will be filled automatically with the default terms defined in the company contract or add as per your requirement. On the Additional Information tab, you can enter the number and date of the incoming documents under this field. If the invoice is based on customer order or other document, the value are filled automatically. In the Shipper field, you can specify the company who ships the item. In the Consignee field, by default, the company that receives items are selected. The value will be used in the packing list print form. Specify a department related to the sale in the Department field. In the Responsible field, add the employee responsible for the invoice. Fill the bank account details, delivery address, contact person and delivery terms in the respective fields to have these details picked up in the print form. Once all the tabs are filled, click on Post to register the document. An option of Generate Tax Invoice will be available after posting a document with the VAT applied. You will find it in the main page. You can generate the tax invoice from the option or create it from the document itself using the Generate option. Go to Generate, click on Tax Invoice. All the details will be picked up from the invoice. You can check the issuing date and post the document. Tax invoice is a document that your company must issue to the customers to confirm the sale of taxable tax-exempt goods and services in the compliance with the FTA regulations on VAT. Also, tax invoice is required in case when advance payment is received from the customer. Kindly refer the video VAT on prepayments received for further details. If the supply is in a currency other than the national currency, then the amount of supplies is automatically converted into the national currency according to the central bank's rate at the date of supply. In the database, we have 3 different print forms available. That is Simplified Tax Invoice Landscape, Tax Invoice Portrait. It's very important to have all the mandatory fields in the print forms of tax invoice to avoid penalties from FTA. Let me show you the mandatory fields in the detailed tax invoices. I will use Tax Invoice Landscape to show you the fields. The word tax invoice should be clearly displayed on the invoice. Name, address and TRN of the entity and the company must be there. A unique tax invoice number should be mentioned. Date of issuing the tax invoice, date of supply if it's different from the issuing date, description of goods or services supplied. For each good offered, the unit price, quantity, volume supplied, the rate of tax and the amount payable should be expressed in AED. Amount of discount offered, the gross amount payable should also be expressed in AED. Beside the detailed tax invoice, simplified tax invoice must also have the mandatory fields available in the print form. Simplified tax invoice is a simplified version of a tax invoice which contains lesser details when compared to the normal tax invoice. It has to be issued by your entity to your customer for taxable supplies of goods and services in either of the 2 cases or conditions. That is, when the recipient or the customer is not registered under VAT or the recipient is registered under VAT VAT and consideration for the supply does not exceed more than AED 10,000. In the print form of simplified tax invoice, the word tax invoice should be clearly mentioned. The name, address, and TRN of the entity must be mentioned, the date of issuing the tax invoice, and description of the goods supplied. You might create different invoice documents in a day to a same customer. Instead of creating separate tax invoices, I'll show you how you can create one tax invoice document, various invoices. Go to Invoice Documents from Sales module, use the shortcut key Control and select the document using your mouse. Right-click, choose the option Generate and create tax invoice document. Once done, post the document. All the details will be filled in the tax invoice document. You can change them as per your requirement. Thank you for watching the video.